Okay, students. So, as I told you, that this is the continuation of the chemical equilibrium, and so today also we will discuss about the chemical equilibrium. This is the last class of the chemical equilibrium, that is Group B, Unit 3, and lecture number is 17. Okay, so the our subject name is, that is, basic chemistry. The paper name of the paper is basic chemistry, which is for all branches of diploma in engineering and technology, and the contact hour is 30. Okay, now prerequisite, here I have given some of the prerequisite, some of the prerequisite knowledge, and some of the course objectives of our course. So prerequisite knowledge of the, generally you must have the some of the knowledge of chemistry up to 12th standard, and also visualization and analytical approach towards the subject is necessary for completion of this course. These are the some of the course objective that we have, that is, you can apply the knowledge of chemical and physical properties and processes in engineering field. The content of this subject provides the knowledge of engineering applications. These are the some of the course outcome that we have for our course. That is, after finishing this paper, you can know you can draw the atomic structure of different elements. You can represent the formation of molecule schematically. You can describe the mechanism of electrolysis. You can identify the properties of metals and alloys related to the engineering applications. You can identify the properties of non-metallic materials related to engineering applications. You can acquire the knowledge of water softening process. Okay, which is used in different industries. And also you can have the basic organic compounds, the knowledge of the basic organic compounds which is applicable to the industry. This is the lecture plan for the chemical equilibrium. Now these are the some of the objectives that we have for our today's class. So we will see, that is, how we can manufacture the nitric acid by the Ostwald process, and also we will see how it can be related to the Law-Sattler principle, or how we can apply the Law-Sattler principle for knowing the maximum yield of the nitric acid. Okay, next we will see also the sulfuric acid by contact process. Also we will discuss about the how we use the contact process to synthesis of the sulfuric acid, and also we will discuss some of the catalyst and catalysis. What are the catalyst, and what are the important role of the catalyst in the reaction, that also we will discuss. Okay, so this is a recapitulation. So previously we have discussed about the Law-Sattler principle, which is very important, and it is just related to our today's class also. That's why I have given I will give you some at just once a glance, so that you can remember. Okay, in previous class whatever we have discussed, that is a Law-Sattler principle, and also we have discussed the industrial preparation of ammonia by the Haber's process. Okay, now Law-Sattler principle. So Law-Sattler principle is very important for the reaction, for knowing the reaction, for which direction the reaction will go. Understand? So if the system at equilibrium is disturbed by a change in temperature, pressure, or the concentration of one of the components, the system will shift its equilibrium position so as to counteract the effect of the disturbance. Okay, So if we change the concentration, if we change the temperature, if we change the volume or pressure, what will happen? The system equilibrium, the reaction equilibrium, the chemical equilibrium will be destroyed. So then the system will change itself in such a way that the change will be minimized. Okay, so this is called La-Sattler principle. That means if a reaction is in chemical equilibrium, and if we want to change one if we want to change one like the temperature, or if you want to change the concentration, if you want to change the pressure or volume, so what will happen? This change will be minimized, minimized into the reaction medium, so in such a way so that what will happen, the minimization of that changes will take place. Okay, so this is called La-Sattler principle. Now the changes in concentration. Yeah, so this is one equation I have given here. So hydrogen plus okay, excuse me, hydrogen and iodine are reacting with each other and forming the hydrogen iodide gas. Okay, now what will happen if we increase the amount of iodine gas? What will happen? Now this reaction is in chemical equilibrium. Generally chemical equilibrium means the forward direction reaction. This forward direction reaction, that is the equals to the rate of this forward direction reaction is equals to the rate of the backward direction reaction. Okay, now if we increase the amount of iodine, what will happen? Now system will want to maintain its chemical equilibrium. Now this change of the concentration of iodine will be minimized by the by increasing the rate of the forward direction reaction. Uh, uh, as such, the iodine, if we increase the concentration of iodine, that means more iodine will react with the hydrogen and it will form more hydrogen iodide. Okay, such that thus the amount of the iodine in the reaction medium will be minimized, will be reduced by increasing the forward direction reaction. Okay, or if we increase the amount of HI, what will happen in our reaction medium? In our reaction medium, already hydrogen iodide is produced as a product, right? Now again we are adding some of the hydrogen iodide to our reaction vessel. What will happen? So the chemical equilibrium will be destroyed. Now to minimize this the changes, what will happen? The backward reaction, more HI will dissociate into hydrogen and iodine, so that the increased amount of HI can be reduced. Understand? So thus the system will change itself in such a way so that whatever changes we have done, that change can be minimized. Okay, so this is the changes in concentration. Now changes is volume and pressure. What will happen if we, like you can see here, yes, if we increase the pressure, what will happen? The volume will decrease. Understand? So if the volume will decrease, that means there will be the less space to remain, to accommodate for the particles. If there will be less space, that means there will be what the less number of particle can remain into that that very less space. So what will happen? The reaction will go towards in a direction where the less number of molecules are producing. and thus chemical equilibrium will be maintained. Like if you take this equation, what will happen? Calcium carbonate, one molecule of calcium carbonate is producing one molecule of calcium oxide and one molecule of carbon dioxide. So that means from one molecule of reactant we are getting two molecules of product, right? So for this reaction, if we increase the pressure, if we increase the pressure, what will happen? The volume decrease. That means we have very less amount of space to accommodate the particles. That means the reaction medium, the reaction will go backward where the less number of products are forming. That means the product molecules are combined with each other and it will form the calcium carbonate. So if you increase the pressure, that means the backward reaction will be followed. Okay, now for this reaction, what will happen? Hydrogen plus iodine, and it will form one molecule of hydrogen, one molecule of iodine, it will form two molecule of hydrogen iodide. So what will happen actually? Now if if we increase the pressure again, here also if we increase the pressure, what will happen? Volume is less, so less molecule will must be there. That means the reaction will go towards the direction where less molecules are producing. But here two reactants and two products, that means the equilibrium will be unaffected by the pressure changes. Okay, so this is the if we change the volume or change the pressure, thus the reaction will change to minimize the effect of that change. Yeah, so change in volume is volume and pressure. Yeah, change in temperature. Generally, if our reaction is endothermic, that means what? That means the heat will be absorbed. Endothermic means heat will be absorbed. Now, if we increase the temperature for this endothermic reaction, what will happen? For endothermic reaction, we require the heat, right? Now, if we increase the temperature, that means more amount of heat will be absorbed. That means the forward direction reaction will be taking place. Now for the exothermic reaction, what will happen? Heat is released. Okay, so again for this case also, exothermic case also, we will increase the temperature. What will happen? Already after the system, after the reaction, the system is getting getting hot by releasing some of the energy. Again we are using some of the heat. So what will happen? So this excessive heat can be reduced by increase amount of the backward reaction. That means that heat will be absorbed and then product molecules, from the product molecules, then the reactant molecules we will get, the backward reaction will be followed. Okay, so these are the some of the effects of the temperature on the endothermic reaction and on the exothermic reaction. Now catalyst. What is catalyst? What is catalyst and what is catalysis reaction? Now catalyst means actually the catalyst can increase the rate of the reaction, that is called by the positive catalyst, or again it can reduce the rate of the reaction, and that is called by the negative catalyst. Now catalysts are very specific, reaction specific. In one reaction, if one catalyst is positive catalyst, in another reaction it may be act as a negative catalyst also. So that's why catalyst, while you were having this type of examples, give some examples of positive catalyst, give some examples of negative catalyst. Okay, so that time you don't need need to write only the catalyst, the name of the catalyst. Also, along with the name of the catalyst, also you have to write down the reaction also. Okay, because the catalysts are very reaction specific, so we cannot that question if you just write down the like H2SO4 is the positive catalyst. So this is this is incomplete answer. Okay, so you can't get the full mark. So that's why you have to also write down the reaction, for which reaction the H2SO4 is acting as a positive catalyst, or for which reaction it is acting as a negative catalyst. Okay, now what will happen for presence of positive catalyst? What will happen? The catalyst will bind up with the reactant molecule, and thus the activation energy will drop. Okay, activation energy will bind up, and thus the threshold energy will drop, and thus the from the reactant molecule very easily the product molecule will form. So this is the total overall mechanism of the catalyst, using the positive catalyst in any reaction to increase the rate of the reaction. Okay, so this is all about the catalyst and catalysis reaction. Yeah, next this is the Haber-Bosch, already we have discussed. Okay, Haber process we are using for producing of the ammonia. Generally what will happen, we are using the air, and also the natural gas and water molecules we are using for providing the hydrogen atom, and it will react with the nitrogen atom, and it will form the ammonia gas. Okay, so this is the Haber process. Now Haber process is exothermic minded, exothermic reaction, right? So if we increase the temperature, that means the backward reaction will take place. Backward reaction will take place, that means from ammonia it will again more ammonia will dissociate into nitrogen and hydrogen atom. Okay, and other thing is, while the ammonia will be produced, that ammonia is constantly removed from the reaction vessel, for which the forward direction reactions are taking place, and thus the mole number of nitrogen and mole number of hydrogens combining itself and forming the ammonia to maintain the chemical equilibrium. Okay. Now we will discuss about the Ostwald process. Ostwald process generally we are using for the production of the HNO3, that is the nitric acid. Okay, it is the one of the most common method of or chemical process used for the manufacturing of nitric acid. The process was developed in the year, that is 1902, by a German chemist named Wilhelm Ostwald. He was later awarded by the Nobel Prize in the year of 1909 for his research. Usually, in the Ostwald process, what will happen? Ammonia is transformed. Generally, we are using the ammonia. Ammonia is transformed into the nitric acid. Vanadium pentoxide here is used as the catalyst. Okay, during the process of nitric acid in this method. The conversion of ammonia to nitric acid simply occurs as a result of oxidation reaction. Yeah, from NH3 to nitric acid, that is the oxidation reaction. That gives us the corresponding nitric oxide. Further, when the nitric oxide is oxidized, the nitrous gases are formed, and those gases can frac the water and forming the nitric acid. Okay, so this is called Ostwald method. While carrying out the process, there are specific reaction chambers as where the ammonia is fed from one direction and air through a different path. Okay, and the next stage involves the oxidation of NO2, which can also demerize by the dimerize by to give the N2O4, that is dinitrogen tetraoxide. The reaction is in this stage is only favored at the low temperature. Okay, so this is called the Ostwald process. Now we will see what is the step 1 process, what is the mechanism, how the nitric acid is forming. Step 1, in the step 1 what will happen, first of all from the from the ammonia, it will react with the oxygen and it will form nitric oxide and H2O, and heat is evolved, that is minus 24.8 kilocalorie per mole. After cooling, nitric oxide is transferred to another oxidizing tower and it will form the nitrogen dioxide. So in the step 1, first of all, ammonia will produce the nitric oxide, and then nitric oxide again oxidized to form the nitrogen dioxide. In the step 2 process, while in a special absorption tower containing water, the nitrogen dioxide from the secondary oxidation chamber is introduced. NO2 is passed through a tower where it absorbs the water. Nitric acid is then obtained through this process. So NO2 plus H2O, that is HNO3 plus nitric oxide. Nitric acid that is obtained is very dilute. Okay, nitric oxide is recycled to increase the concentration level, which is generally kept around 68%. The acid in water solution can also be dehydrated by the distillation with sulfuric acid. Here the pressure is kept in between 4 to 10 standard atmospheric pressure and the temperature is set at 870 to 1073 Kelvin. The reaction is exothermic. Minded, the reaction is exothermic. That means if we apply the heat, what will happen, the backward the reaction will take place. Okay, the rate of the backward reaction will increase, is a release of energy and a constantly added to the cycle as reactant, the increasing concern equilibrium condition. So this is the step 2 process. Yeah, now we will see what is the contact process. Okay, contact process generally we are using to production of the sulfuric acid, right? H2, that is sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4. Yeah, that is sulfuric acid. Hmm. So it is said that if one could estimate the amount of sulfuric acid produced in a country, then the information is more than enough to estimate the industrial growth of that particular country, because the sulfuric acid is very essential raw materials for all type of almost everything that is industrially made. It is commonly used in fertilizer manufacturing, oil refining, mineral processing, and it is even used in the wastewater processing also. The manufacture of sulfuric acid using contact process involves 4 steps. Generally in 4 steps we are having the sulfuric acid. First of all, extraction, we have to extract the sulfur. We have to prepare the sulfur dioxide, then the sulfur dioxide will convert into the sulfur trioxide, and from that sulfur trioxide that will convert into the finally the sulfuric acid. Okay, yeah. So actually this is not the reaction. Yeah, so what will happen, first of all, extraction of sulfur. Pure sulfur is required for the production of the sulfur dioxide gas. The most important one among these is recovery for the natural gas and oil. the organic and mineral parts of this are removed from the sulfur. So lead sulfide, if we use the ore lead sulfide as the sulfur as a so resource of the sulfur, so this lead sulfide will react with the oxygen and it will form the lead oxide and sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide can be obtained from the metallurgy of copper, nickel, zinc, etc. In China, most of the sulfur dioxide are extracted from the pyrite and iron sulfide ore. Next we have, that is preparation of the sulfur dioxide from the sulfur. So generally what will happen, the sulfur solid to sulfur gas, first of all we are converting by applying some heat, that is 445 degrees centigrade we require, and that sulfur gas, from that gaseous material we can convert with the help of oxygen, we can convert it into the sulfur dioxide. Okay, air and atomized molten sulfur are kept at one end and of the hot furnace, and it will convert into the sulfur dioxide. Next is conversion of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide. Next, what will happen? Whatever form the sulfur dioxide, again reacting with the oxygen, and it will form the sulfur trioxide. Okay, this is really delicate step in the contact process. This is partly because it produces corrosive sulfur trioxide, and also this process is a reversible reaction, hence involves setting different reaction parameters to obtain the maximum sulfur trioxide molecules. Okay, now next this sulfur trioxide will be converted into the sulfuric acid with the help of the water molecules. Okay, now dilution of sulfur trioxide in water can yield the sulfuric acid. This is however really dangerous and hence not followed. The addition of sulfur trioxide in water is highly exothermic. Mind it, exothermic, that means the energy is released. Okay, the heat is released and cause the fuming of sulfuric acid. Okay, and this is called the oleum. Okay, oleum can be further diluted in water and it will form the H2SO4. Okay, this H2SO7, this is called by oleum. Okay, so thus this by this contact process we can manufacture the sulfuric acid. Okay, now these are the some of the conditions that if we maintain this condition, then we can we can manufacture the large amount of sulfuric acid. 1:1 proportion of sulfur dioxide and oxygen is used. From the equation we can see there is always a excess in oxygen if we use this ratio. If the amount of reactant become high, the equilibrium will tip towards the product side. Since the amount of oxygen is always higher in the reactant side. Okay. Now temperature consideration, the reaction is exothermic, so that is SO2 plus O2, SO3 sulfur trioxide is producing. Hence according to the Law-Sattler principle, a lower temperature, if we cool down our reaction media, so then sulfur trioxide, then higher amount of sulfur trioxide will be produced. And pressure, if we consider the pressure, from the equation we can see that two molecules of sulfur dioxide and one molecule of oxygen will form the one molecule of SO2. Okay, so there are three reactants. We have generally three reactants and one product. So if we increase the pressure, that means volume will be less space for the gaseous particles to move. So that's why the forward direction reaction will take place if we increase the pressure. Okay, So these are the some of the conditions. If we maintain these conditions, then we can get the large amount of sulfuric acid. Okay, the catalyst generally in contact process, the catalyst used in the contact process is vanadium pentoxide. Okay, the action of the catalyst is not to yield more product, but to make the but to increase the rate of the reaction. The reaction will be faster. Okay. Yeah, so this is all about of the today's topic. Now I've given whatever you have got. I've given one question, that is for an exothermic reaction decrease in temperature, the results in the blank of production. So you have to fill in the blank within the 10 second. So your time starts now. Whatever I have taught you, whatever I have discussed, you have to memorize and you can easily answer the question. Yeah, your 10-second time is over, and you are absolutely right. Increase in the production. Exothermic reaction means the heat is released. Okay, so if that heat is removed, or if the reaction medium is cooling down, that means what will happen? To maintain the chemical equilibrium, obviously the rate of the forward direction reaction will increase. Okay, so these are the some of the topics that we have discussed, that is nitric acid by Oswald process, sulfuric acid by contact process, and also catalyst and catalysis, that also we have seen. Yeah. Please, students, follow the classes and do the assignment and submit it within the time. So thank you, students, and see you in the next class.